One of the most difficult moments in a professional career is the moment when something no longer feels right. You cannot fully explain it. You are still capable. You are still performing. But internally, something feels off. And when that tension builds long enough, many high-achieving corporate women reach a point where they feel an urgent desire to change something. Leave the role, change industries, start over, do something different. The desire for change is not the problem. The problem is when the change is driven by emotional reactivity instead of strategic clarity. Because emotional decisions often create short-term relief, but strategic decisions create long-term alignment. And the difference between these two can determine whether your next move strengthens your career or destabilizes it. Let's anchor something important first. High-achieving corporate women do not burn out because they are weak. They burn out because they are misaligned. And misalignment often creates emotional tension, frustration, fatigue, disconnection, quiet resentment. Those emotions are not signs of failure. They are signals. But signals require interpretation, not immediate reaction. Because reactive emotionally to professional discomfort often leads to decisions that solve the feeling but not the underlying issue. Let me explain. When discomfort becomes intense, the brain naturally seeks relief. Relief from stress, relief from uncertainty, relief from environments that feel misaligned. So the mind starts looking for the fastest way to eliminate the tension. If I resign, the pressure will stop. If I change careers, the frustration will disappear. If I leave this organization, everything will feel better. And sometimes those changes are appropriate, but when they happen impulsively, they often fail to address the deeper question. Why did this tension develop in the first place? Without that diagnosis, the same pattern often repeat. Different organization, different title, same internal discomfort. This is why emotional reactivity can be dangerous in professional decision making, because the goal is not to escape discomfort. The goal is to understand what the discomfort is telling you. Let's talk about the difference between emotional decisions and strategic decisions. Emotional decisions are driven by urgency. They sound like this: I cannot keep doing this. I need to get out. I have to change something immediately. Strategic decisions sound different. They sound like this: something here needs to change. Let me understand what. Where exactly is the misalignment? What would a thoughtful transition look like? Strategic thinking slows the process down, not because change is unnecessary, but because clarity improves outcome. High-achieving women often struggle with this slowing down process because they are used to solving problems quickly. In leadership roles, decisiveness is often rewarded, but career transitions require a different skill: discernment. Discernment asks deeper questions before action is taken, and discernment prevents unnecessary disruption. Let's explore 3 practices that help professionals make career decisions without emotional reactivity. The first practice is creating distance, decision distance. When emotions are intense, clarity becomes distorted. Frustration magnifies problems. Fatigue narrows perspective. Stress exaggerates urgency. So the first step toward better decision making is creating space between the emotion and the decision. This may mean waiting, reflecting, observing patterns instead of reacting to isolated moments. Because a difficult week is not the same thing as structural misalignment. A stressful project is not the same thing as an incompatible career path. Decision distance always allows you to separate temporary pressure from deeper patterns. And patterns reveal the real problems. And patterns really reveal the real problem. The second practice is identifying the true source of tension. Many professionals assume their discomfort comes from the job, but often the tension comes from something more specific. Leadership culture, lack of autonomy, misalignment with organizational values, unclear impact, or operating in an identity that no longer reflects who they are becoming. When you name the specific source of tension, the problem becomes easier to address because not every problem requires leaving. Some problems require redesign, some require boundary adjustments, some require leadership conversations, and some do require transitions. But without identifying the root, every option feels uncertain. Clarity about the source of tension transforms how solutions are considered. The third practice is clarifying identity before direction. This is the most important one. Career decisions become much easier when identity becomes clear. Who are you becoming? What values guide your decisions? What kind of leadership environment allows you to thrive? What definition of success feels aligned with your stage of life? Without those answers, professional decisions become reactive. You move toward whatever opportunity appears first, but when identity becomes clear, opportunities can be evaluated more intelligently. Instead of asking, is this opportunity impressive? You begin asking, is this opportunity aligned? That shift alone changes everything because alignment sustains performance, whereas misalignment eventually erodes it. This is why my work begins with identity, not with resumes, not with job searches, identity. Through the RTS method, realign, transition, sustain, we move through 3 phases. The first phase is realign. This phase focuses on understanding identity, who you are becoming, what no longer fits, where misalignment exists. Only after identity clarity emerges does the next phase begin. Transition. This phase focuses on designing a thoughtful, structured move that protects your income, your credibility, and your professional narrative. Because transitions should strengthen your career trajectory, not disrupt it unnecessarily. And finally comes sustain. This phase ensures that your future success remains aligned with your identity and values, so that success no longer requires internal compromise, because success that costs your identity is not sustainable success. Let's bring this together. If you are currently feeling tension in your career, if you are questioning whether something needs to change, the most powerful thing you can do is slow down the process. Create distance from emotional urgency. Identify the real source of tension. Clarify who you are becoming before deciding where to go next. Because clarity produces better decisions, and better decisions create more stable transitions. The goal is not to react. The goal is to realign. And realignment always begins with understanding. In the next video, we are going to explore something that many high-achieving corporate women wrestle with privately. How faith, purpose, and professional life intersect when you are navigating seasons of career uncertainty. Because for many women, alignment is not only professional, it is also spiritual. And learning how to discern direction in those seasons is incredibly important. I will see you on the next one.